What's going on, everybody? It's your boy King Gabe here, and today we got a real special treat for you guys here. Done all the history of Kroger Force Power Rangers, then went back before Kroger Force, where the first Power Ranger series actually like made up with came up with that like full on episodes and stuff like that, mega cards. But now we're gonna go even further back than mega card before going any we're gonna go just a little further back than mega cards to the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger days. Matter of fact, as said in the video, this is my history with Power Rangers. From Mighty Morphin to all the say Mighty Morphin and beyond. No. So the beyond actually goes as far as I can tell. Actually, would go probably I would say go up to like space and lost galaxy that I was in. But I'll explain that in a second there as I fill you guys in on it with some other stuff as well, and also some other things that kind of came even when I was even like before and after I came up with mega cards and stuff, or even Kroger Force, and some other stuff as well. Uh, so before we go into this, let's say definitely like, share, subscribe. You know, super thanks. Get some of our available comic books as well as also Yumiko One. You can check it out in the library if you want to, take a look at it before you buy a copy. Also, support us on that Patreon, just like your boy AJ the Supreme. Check out his channel along with Casey's channel there on YouTube. We sell each other some stuff on the Macari app and hang out on Discord. And now, let's get on into this here. My history with the Power Rangers. So, yeah, I think I just say that. Yeah, with the Power Rangers, referring to the ones from Mighty. Yeah, okay, yeah, MMR, say MMPR, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and beyond. So, let's go. So of course, Power Rangers first came out and everything, as we all know, 1993. Oh, after 10,000 years, I'm free. It's time to conquer Earth. Alpha, Rita's escape. Recruit a team of teenagers with attitude. Do 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 do. Go go Power Rangers. Oh. Do 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 do. Go go Power Rangers. Go go Power Rangers. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Do 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 do. So, yeah, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Thing is, at the time it came out, I was like 5 years old. Matter of fact, that was the same year that I got baptized at church. Yeah, but accepted Christ and everything in that same at 5 years old. Same year as the Power Rangers debuted. That's ironic. And of course, 2 Sundays after my baptism, attended a back to school musical. So, anyway, with that said, I don't think I really just got into the Power Rangers right when it came out until I think somewhere between, like, I would say the last half of me in the first grade going into the second grade. Yeah, so somewhere within there, that's when I kind of got into the Power. Actually, had new like, oh, Power Rangers. What's that? Just that's when I actually became aware of it and got into it. By that point, they was in season 2, obviously. Yeah, season 2, because the movie hadn't come out yet. So they was into season 2 with the Thunderzords and all that. Mastodon, Lion, Thunderzord power. Yeah, they was doing all that already, but they were showing reruns of season 1. Matter of fact, they was far into it at the point where they had VHSs of some of the season one episodes. You had Day of the Dumpster, High Five, Food Fight, Happy Birthday Zach, and No Clowning Around. Each one of those VHSs, of course, had a picture of each ranger on each VHS. Day of the Dumpster, of course, had Red Ranger's picture, Jason. That's kind of obvious, the very first episode. High Five had a picture of Trini, the Yellow Ranger. That kind of makes sense because Trini had a fear of heights and had to overcome it. Um, but then there was the other ones that's kind of questionable. Now they are good episodes. Don't get me wrong, but when I say questionable, I'm referring to each ranger represented on the VHS cover. Food Fight, they have Billy represented on the cover. He did come up with the idea of of feeding the pig the spicy radish, where spicy foods would make the pudgy pig sick. In the Sentai, of course, it was a special herb that made the pig sick and allowed them to feed them. But yeah, here they say it was spicy foods. Even though Billy came, but actually, they kind of put Trini on the spotlight a little bit more about pointing it out, then sort of threw in Billy, sort of amplifying the idea, and then Trini got to throw the spicy radish to the pig due to the Sentai footage, because in the Sentai footage it was kind of focused on Boy, the yellow the Saber Zoo Ranger, yeah. So actually, I think an episode that they could have probably used on the VHS to kind of to put Billy on, if not the Madam Woe episode, I would say probably the Eye Guy episode with the guy, all the monsters, all the eyeballs and stuff. So yeah, I would say that would be more of an episode to feature Billy. And one thing about them having the picture of the different rangers on the different VHSs, there were interviews with each of these rangers. So yeah, the one I got, obviously, the VHS I remember getting was that my mom actually bought was the Food Fight one with Billy, and of course Billy was my favorite ranger because he was the Blue Ranger and he wore glasses like me. And I know there's someone on Facebook that really has a big crush on Billy. Gotta be the glasses. Yep. And so now, Happy Birthday Zach. That actually, now, yeah, obviously, yeah, Black Ranger Zach is on the VHS for that. I mean, after all, his name is even in the title. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Billy, like I said, they should have used the Eye Guy episode. Food Fight, don't get me wrong, is a good episode. But yeah, if you're going by this whole have a ranger on each VHS, yeah, Eye Guy should have been the episode for Billy. The No Clowning Around had the picture of the Pink Ranger, Kimberly. That one kind of had Trini take the spotlight again a little bit with the Octa. I think it was the Octa plan or something. It was like an octopus monster that was disguised as a clown. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, maybe a Kimberly focused episode to put her on. I would say probably, especially if you're trying to use episodes before Tommy came along, Green with Evil. I think the one where she was in that plane, the plane, everything, it had to land the plane. Bust the plane. So maybe I would say that one with her and her uncle and saving Vulcan's skull, because it was focused on Kimberly. I don't know if they did any Megazord summons or anything, but yeah, it was focused on her. Either that one or I think there's another one that's kind of Kimberly focused that came before Green with Evil. But yeah, I would definitely. But yeah, the plane one probably a good one to use. Then of course you had the 5 VHS 5-parter episode on each tape, obviously. Green with Evil, of course, featuring Tommy, the Green Ranger. Out of Control, Jason's Battle, The Rescue, eclipsing Megazord, and finally breaking the spell. Go, Green Ranger, go, go! And the other VHS they had came from the first of season 2 before the White Ranger was introduced. I think it was kind of like the first of the episodes, the Wannabe Ranger, Putty on the Brain, and Bloom of Doom. This features a new bad guy, the most menacing adversary yet, Lord Zed. New Power Zord. Fantastic creatures with unbelievable power. So, yeah, you had that going there. So as with my history in there, like I say, because like I said, I was a big fan of Billy. You know, Blue Ranger glasses. That's how I looked at it as a kid. Um, I imagined myself as the Blue Ranger, obviously. Um, then of course there were some other kids I imagined as Power Rangers with me. Um, so obviously not going to use their real names. Is in my version, of course, me Blue Ranger. Instead of red like in Kroger Force and Mega Cards. Um, the Red Ranger would be what was that said? Matthew. Say Morgan as the Yellow Ranger. Peter as the Black Ranger, and Alice as the Pink Ranger. Now these are names I just made up to keep from using their real names. So yeah, we're all. And then of course yours truly as the Blue Ranger. Who I imagine as the Green Ranger, of course. Another name I'm making up. I'm just gonna say Terrell. Yeah, Terrell. Uh, yeah, or Trent. Yeah, well, not Trent. Oh wait. Now they use Trent. Maybe I would say probably Trevor. Yeah, we'll just say Trevor. Yeah, so Trevor as the Green Ranger. Uh, so yeah, the sixth. So yeah, definitely was imagining myself in those. Pretty much as how a lot of the episodes went. Um, there was a few things I did make up of the Ranger species. Excuse me. There was one. This was something that would also be used in my Digimon fantasy. That'll probably be in the history of Digimon videos. A traffic light monster, which apparently they did use that. It was a turtle monster with a traffic light in his head, and he did use the traffic light as a weapon. So I think I wasn't aware of that episode when I came up with this. But yeah, I just imagined a big giant traffic light. But there was another thing that they didn't come up with that I imagine. Fighting. Ooh, excuse me. Um, if you don't already, if I hadn't mentioned this before, there was back when I was like 3 or 4 years old, before Power Rangers even came out, I did there was the Planters Peanuts commercial with Mr. Peanut, and as a 3 or 4 year old, I was terrified of Mr. Peanut because I thought he came out of the TV into the house when he'd be dancing and then come right to the TV screen. Now, sort of like Fat Albert in the live action movie. Like, I'm gonna help her. Dun 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 dun. But no. Gee. Ah! Ow! Oh, wait, ow! Wait, let go of my legs. Give me the pill. Stop hitting me now. So, yeah, there was. So yeah, it was that. So yeah, Mr. Peanut really creeped the heck out of me there because like I said, I had that nightmare. First nightmare I had of Mr. Peanut. He so I'm sitting up. I'm in the well actually I think I had this. I was 2 years old actually, from 2 to 4. So yeah, because I remember I was sitting up in my bed and all of a sudden I woke up because I heard like someone came in the house. And I sat there real still. I was real scared. all of a sudden I hear this little music, do 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 do, and as I hear the music getting louder and louder, all of a sudden Mr. Peanut himself walked because my bedroom door was open, so I see Mr. Peanut walk right by, do 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 do. Then like almost like I hear heard like him going into the bathroom. Don't ask. Her toilet flush and everything. Like I guess he had to use the restroom for some reason. Yeah, again, don't ask. Cause I was too terrible. Yeah, yeah, at 2 years old, I wasn't thinking about why a peanut had to use the bathroom. I was just terrified the fact that a peanut was in the house. So, yeah. Then he walks back out. Of course, he turned the light off and everything. Do 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 do. And sound like he went out the house door and out the front door and everything. Closed it back. And I'm thinking, okay, he's out. As soon as I do that, he shows up in the doorway. Gaga! Ah! And he's dancing all over. And I'm waking up like, ah! Oh boy. Almost like Will Smith when he woke up from the nightmare in season 6 of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, because all the he had got beat by the boxing instructor, who was a lady, had got beat badly by her. Then he had a nightmare that all the ladies at the gym were pretty much beating him up there. Like, hey, you messed up my count. I hate when people mess up my count. Come on, let's go for a spin. Oh, look, it's Loverboy again. What do you say we go for a spin? So, yeah, pretty kind of like that there. Oh boy. So anyway, so yeah, so because of that experience from Mr. Peanut, I imagine him as one of Rita's monsters in the Rangers having to face him. And of course, me as the Blue Ranger, having to overcome my fear of Mr. Peanut. Rita's like, so looks like Gabe is scared of a peanut. a dancing peanut, might you add? Yeah, with a monocle and everything. Fenster, make me a peanut monster, just like the one in the commercials. Oh well, I think I can pull something like that off. No, just give me a minute and everything. Hurry it up! No, yes, my queen. Of course, I remember in the Japanese version, Pettycon, that was his name, Fenster's name in the Japanese Sentai, and there was a scene where he said, "Ooh, woman, you're getting on my nerves." He was getting tired of Bandora, aka Rita Repulsa. Yeah, he's like, "You are getting on my nerves." So, all right, let's see, it'll take a little while to get it. We can send the buddies down to deal with the Rangers until Fenster gets the peanut made. Excellent. Putties come down. Combat. Yeah. You know, the usual, beat the buddies up and everything. And also, and of course, I did imagine a Bulk Skull. But I'm just going to say Bulk Skull because there were two kids I did imagine like them, but I ain't going to say their names. So, yeah, Bulk Skull moment, obviously. So, afraid of a peanut? Yeah, afraid of a peanut? Ooh. I hear the peanuts is really scary. Yeah, really scary when you shut up. I'm working here. Yeah. So yeah, typical moment with them. The peanut monster's finished. Like, well, my peanut monster is now complete. into the monster, make it go. Just a few minutes, don't want to overcook them. And this is the thing. Now you're probably wondering, well, what does Mr. Peanut sound like? Because I don't think anyone's ever heard him talk, as far as I know. But I actually heard him with a voice in another nightmare of mine. In that nightmare, it started off as a pretty good dream at first, where in the dream I actually got to meet the California Raisins, which I was a big fan of and still am. You know, the California Raisin Show. You know, the ones that be singing, ooh, I bet you wondering how I knew about your plans to make me blue. But some other guy that you knew before, between the two of us guys, you know I love you more. You took me by surprise, took me by surprise. When I found out then, don't you know that I heard it through the grapevine? Not much longer would you be mine. Oh yes, I heard it through the grapevine. Ooh, I'm just about to lose my mind. Honey, honey, yeah, through the grapevine. Not much longer would you be my baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, it had that. Yeah, the California Rays. Matter of fact, I remember one dream I had in high school where everybody in the neighbor were random TV characters that I had watched, that I actually was watching at the time, were all lined up in the neighborhoods doing I heard it through the grapevine in a big like mariachi band line. Heard it through the grapevine. Just imagine in your mind Static Shock, Yugi, Jackie Chan, and Batman and all them. Heard it through the grapevine. So back to the dream nightmare. So I met the California Raisins. They were performing at my house. Then later in the dream, I come into the kitchen. The raisins have been painted yellow with black stripes on them, just like Mr. Peanut. Well, kind of, but they were painted yellow, and they were looking like they was in pain. I was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? They didn't say anything, and then all of a sudden I sat down for a moment, like I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden I felt somebody lift me up, and I'm still in the sitting position. Like I looked down, Mr. Peanut had picked me up. Like I said, I think I was like 3 at that point, but Mr. Peanut had picked me up, and I was like, ah! And I heard him, and despite all the screaming, this is the voice I heard him talking. What's the meter? Say what? Yeah, see, that's it. I'll say it again. What's the meter? So, yeah, that's the voice I imagine him in his appearance in Power Rangers. Like, hey, I am Mr. Peanut at your service, Rita. Excellent! And I've also taken the precaution to give him a little assistant. Like, the 7-Up monster. Yeah, y'all know some of y'all may not know it, but if you do, remember there was a little dot whenever they advertised 7-Up back in the day. There was a little dot with some shades on them and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he did. I think he just created Mr. Peanut, but but both of them I think were used in my Digimon fantasy. So yeah, might be there where I had a 7-Up monster there. But anyway, the Mr. Peanut goes down. Of course, I was terrified there, but then, of course, the other Rangers come, to my aid, and like, we help, overcoming the fear, that kind of thing, yada yada yada. Mr. Peanut's powers were peanut bombs that he would shoot out of his hat there. And say, hello, Rangers. I'm here to have a bomb with you. Ah! I don't believe that was etiquette enough for you. Try my monocle laser. So, so eventually they do, yeah, get like the power blaster. Power act. Power bow. Power daggers. Power lance. Power sword. Power Rangers. Oh dear. Whoa. But of course, Rita's not going to be done just that easily. Magic wand, make my peanut grow. Ew. Bzz. It looks like it would appear that I'm thinking, it appears that I've gotten big now. What are you dinosaur power now? All the dinosaurs come out there. All right. Ah! And all jump into their Zords. Let's give them some Megazord power. First they do the tank mode first, and then Megazord sequence has been initiated. Megazord activated. And of course, with the Green Ranger present, big Dragozord come out all Godzilla style. Ah, 2-on-1. I can deal with that. Just imagine in your mind. Okay, let me bring some of y'all that don't know. That's probably wondering what Mr. Peanut looked like there. Mr. Peanut, let's see. Yeah, there we go. Ah, yes. Boy, and I tell you, now I'm not running out of here like I did as a kid, but yeah, he still kind of got a creepy look there. His original animation still kind of has a creepy appearance, I'm just saying. And of course, they did have some of y'all may have heard about Mr. Peanut's death, and then Baby Peanut came up. Yeah, there was that there. Mr. Peanut dies. So, this is the way his original look did there. Original animated look kind of creepy. It is kind of creepy a little bit there. I ain't gonna lie. So just imagine this fighting against the Rangers Megazord and the Dragon Zord. Dance. Bum, 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 bum. Finger missiles. Oh, how dare you! Hey! Oh, that was rude. And of course that tail whip. Be waving your tail at me. Now I would think, yeah, but thing is, despite how Mr. Peanut look, he's a lot more powerful than you think, especially grown big. And I want to say they probably either would do the Dragonzord fighting mode. I would say probably the Dragonzord fighting mode. They would probably have to switch to. I was about to say they would call Titanus, but yeah, I would just say maybe switch to Dragon fighting mode. Dum 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 dum. Yeah, and then of course combined with the Dragonzord. All right, look. Or maybe Titanus. Yeah, let's go with Titanus. Yeah, we Ultrazord power now. And then of course Dragonzord combined. And all weapons lock on and fire. Go Go, go, Power Rangers! And of course, my fear has been conquered back then. um, so yeah, that was that I came up with. And of course, they get that later at the end of season one, going into season two, they get the Thunder Zords and everything. The Lord Zed shows up on the scene against this piranha monster that was trying to take control of their old Zords. They with that whatever it was he was shooting out of that thing he was blowing. And then the Thunder Zords is like, let's can this fish. Oh boy. Thunder Megazord Saber, power up. And not saying I don't like the original Megazord. I do, yeah, because I know that's where it started. But let's just say I really like the Thunder Megazord's finishing attack because when he get ready to have that samurai look to him, and then when he wave his sword across and get ready to strike, there's this background of mountains behind him, and it changes to a waterfall background. Dun, 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 dun. And then the little wave of the blade line. Then the monster. Sort of like they fall down, explode. Go, go, Power Rangers. So, and then of course Lord Zed's angry. I did not fail! You all failed! You all failed like you failed before! Ah! And so yeah, there's that. Pretty much went through like you do. White Ranger eventually came, had the Tiger Zord and everything, which of course in the Sentai was a little kid called the Kiba Ranger. Kiba, change So had the White Tiger Zord, and there was something. Oh yeah. Before the White Ranger came on, when the Green Ranger lost his power for good in season 2 before becoming the White Ranger, there was this whole thing with Lord Zed's Shadow Rangers. Zed, seriously? Why do your Rangers look so crappy, Lord Zed? I hate this, I think Linkara had a good point. Lord Zed was a lot more successful when he had Rita at his side. When him and Rita worked together, he was a lot more successful. I mean, sure, they still, Rangers would still one up them, but he had a higher success rate though. By himself, he creates these crappy Rangers. When Rita has actually successfully made some really good Power Ranger clones twice. The first one was a set of mutant Power Rangers, and then the others, I think the first one was made with putties as the Power Rangers. But of course, the one that was disguised as the Red Ranger was actually some kind of mirror monster, and his power allowed the putties to become like the other 4 Rangers. Naturally, the putties have actually been able to become like regular people in disguise, and then morph back to their putty form. But they needed that mirror monster in order to mimic the Rangers and their abilities. But the fact that Rita pulled this off, what? And then she made Mighty Morphin Mutant Rangers of all 6 of them. Now Lord Zed did somewhat kind of copy the Rangers with this baboon-looking monster in the Wannabe Ranger episode, but he was only able to do it, he could only copy them one at a time. But apparently Rita was more successful of creating a successful team of clone Power Rangers than Lord Zed was. That says something. Yeah, no wonder Lord Zed be so mad at times. Maybe that's actually the real reason he sent Rita away at first before she came back. Maybe it wasn't so much the fact of her failures alone. Maybe it's the fact that her efforts against the Power Rangers actually could have had a chance of being more successful than he is. something to think about there. So, Forgeville, I don't know where that's at now. Need to make sure I turn the sound down so we won't get no copyright. Ooh, Dirk McDuffie! Copyright, 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 copyright! So, yeah, don't want Iago to be reporting to Mickey Mouse. Copyright! Copyright! So, gonna turn this down here. So anyway, with that, yeah, season 2, they got married and everything. Then there was the destruction of the Thunderzords and the team up with the Masked Rider. Of course, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie with Ivan Ooze, which was a different, a whole different universe. Changing of Rangers, obviously. Then you had season 3 with the Ninja Ranger powers and stuff, and all that. Also, amongst this, there were a few things I did come up with, but I didn't have episodes or anything like that. You guys know about VR Troop. Some of y'all that's watched Power Rangers probably know about VR Troopers. There was one point I imagined a VR Trooper Power Ranger fusion. Go VR Rangers! Yeah. So yeah, imagine VR Troopers and Power Rangers fused together. That would actually be pretty interesting. Virtual reality Rangers. Ironically, that was a thing in the Super Sentai with Mega Ranger, which in what Saban took and made into Power Rangers in space. Because Mega Ranger, it had some space-based stuff, but it dealt with virtual reality and video games there. So yeah, that's kind of ironic there. And then there was also a thing of Power Rangers, I think by the time Zeo came out, where I imagined another version of Power Rangers for myself, Acrovate Rangers, I think I was trying to say Activate Rangers, but the way I had it spelled, it would have sounded like Acrovate Rangers. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the premise behind that one was completely, but it existed. Also, I do definitely remember when the Mighty Morphin movie came out, I had some of the toys from Power Rangers, like the communicator and stuff. Matter of fact, Christina even told me she had gotten some toys from the McDonald's Happy Meals, like I think a Morpher and a few of the Power Coins, but she didn't really know what to do with. Man, I wish I knew her back. I wish we knew each other back then as kids, because I would have sure liked to have that Morpher and the coins, baby. If you didn't want them, I'm just saying, especially if you got the Triceratop Power Coin. So, who knows? Maybe because I know the Marcari app, they got some people that's even selling some of their selling Happy Meal toys on there. So who knows? So there was that. Then of course Turbo came out. I was Turbo. I do like. I don't hate Turbo. I know some people. I know. Well, actually, I know Linkara say that his problem with Turbo was, and now his criticism of it kind of makes a little sense, because you think of, okay, you've gone from ancient dinosaurs to mythical Chinese animals, ninja animals, majestic Zeo crystals that get stronger with more and more use, and now you suddenly switch to turbo cars. It's a cool. Shifting to turbo is a cool season, but how do you go? But yeah, it's like, how does a power growing Zeo crystal suddenly you have to switch to turbo cars? Well, there's theories behind that, and there were some deleted scenes from the Turbo movie, but there's some theories behind why they may have to switch to turbo. Remember how Jason, when he was the Gold Ranger, he for a brief while, because of what happened to Trey from Triporia, after a while, Jason was no longer able to hold on to the Gold Ranger powers, and they had to give him back to Trey because it was damaging his body. His physiology or whatever wasn't meant for the Gold Ranger powers. Well, since that's part of the Zeo crystals and everything, what if it was the same with the other Zeo crystals? Maybe the Gold Ranger power was a lot stronger than the other Zeo crystals, so that's why Jason couldn't hold on to it like he did. Because, like they say, the Zeo crystals get stronger, so maybe it had already exceeded past the other Zeo crystals. So by the end of the season, yeah, Jason body was not able to handle that all that power anymore, so they just gave it back to Trey. I would think that since the other five Zeo Rangers had gotten to the point where they could make themselves grow with their Zeo powers and a little help from the Gold Ranger, probably at some point between the last episode where they defeated King Mondo, actually Rita and Lord Zed did, but after the last episode of Zeo and then into the Turbo movie leading into the Power Rangers Turbo, the Turbo season after the movie, somewhere between the last Zeo episode and the movie, I would say that maybe the Zeo powers had gradually gotten to the point where, like Jason with the Gold Ranger powers, it was too powerful for them to handle, which explains why Kat's when she tried to morph into Zeo Ranger 1 in the Turbo movie, why it canceled out. Yeah, critic. It wasn't because of the water that caused her to demorph. The thing, but like Jason with the Gold Ranger powers, this is probably an example of when the powers were starting to become too much for the Rangers. Thus, why they had to let them go. And how they made the Turbo powers, they probably got a portion of the Zeo powers into a concentrated form that their bodies could take, and thus became the Turbo Rangers. Now, the fact that Tommy was still able to become Zeo Ranger 5 in Forever Red, well, he probably, like I say, if there was a portion for the Turbo powers, then whatever was left of it was probably stored somewhere, away somewhere. So Tommy probably was able to access the other energy that was stored away, since, remember, he did give he passed on his Turbo Ranger duties to TJ halfway through the Turbo season. So yeah, that was that. Zeo Turbo. When I was watching the Turbo Ranger series, I imagined myself in Turbo while riding my bike, and since we're kids and everything, I imagined having a Turbo bike Megazord. Ironic, we get a motorcycle Megazord with the Omega Ranger and SPD though, but I was imagining like 5 bikes, giant size, combining into one Megazord. Of course, it wouldn't look like your regular bike you're riding on, because obviously you have to control it from the inside, much like the Omega Ranger did with his Omega Max Cycle Zord. Then, of course, they went into space, met with Andros and all that. Now, space actually, aside from Mighty Morphin, space, that I really was into the Power Rangers space season. Matter of fact, still was imagining myself as the Blue Ranger. I did like the morphing code. Let's rock it. 5, 5, 3, lift off. And with that, in the space, I definitely imagined myself with the Zords and all that. I also imagined 3 other Rangers in addition to the 5 Space Rangers, and of course they did have the Silver Ranger. But I also imagined 3 other Rangers, which of course would make a total of 9. These 3 were known as the Trinity Rangers, and it was actually made up of 3. All 3 of them were girls. They morphed into the Purple, Orange, and Brown Ranger, and the Purple Ranger out of the trio was sort of their leader, their commander. So yeah, these 3 girls, they would help the Space Rangers, fight alongside them, and even had a Zord of their own, the Trinity Megazord, which was their spaceship. So which I've also imagined these same Rangers, but I think they were different people. I imagine in Kroger Force. So now you know where the Trinity Rangers first came up. Uh, Also, these three girls that were the Trinity Rangers back during the days of Power Rangers in Space were also two out of three of the girls I had a crush on back then. I was like 9 years old at the time, and all three of these girls were teenagers. Uh, one I remember coming up behind her, and I hugged her from behind, just as they like, okay, we are excused from Sunday school for a few minutes until it's time for the morning worship service. Between the services, I ran up to her and hugged her like, "Hi!" And she threw her hands up like, "Ah!" And looked down at me. I'm looking up at her. Hi. So yeah, there was that. And then a little bit later, I was starting to crush on. Uh, I think, the first girl I crushed on. Think I want to say. I think she was the youngest. I think the youngest of them. I want to say, but and then of course the oldest one. Me and another friend of mine, we got to fighting over the second one. It was like, hey, I got you a flower. Now I got you two, three. And she ran and told both our moms. And also he's like, now look what you've done. So, yeah. So yeah, those were who I imagined the Trinity Rangers. Um, and then of course they had Lost Galaxy. Funny thing about Lost Galaxy is I actually thought, you know how Mighty Morphin, they like season one Mighty Morphin, season two Mighty Morphin, they still were saying it's Morphin time all the way up to Zeo. Um, well, with the Lost Galaxy, I thought they were still saying let's rock it, and I thought it was still a part of space. It was in space somewhat, but it was a whole different cast of Rangers and a whole different story. And they were saying let's go galactic. But for some reason, I thought they were saying let's rock it and morphing. When I saw the little bit of Lost Galaxy I did see, and there was an adventure I imagined that had to do. It was sort of like a cross between the Power Rangers in space and a little bit of Star Wars, kind of. Where me and one of the Trinity Rangers um, were going through the galaxy, and we got to a quadrant where it started raining ketchup. Don't ask. Crash lands on this weird planet, and on the planet we end up getting captured and end up forced to be on this game show, sort of like the Sphinx monster in the Super Sentai that was asking the kids all these questions. Ping pong, ping pong. Yeah, we end up on some kind of game show, and then I think when we tried to escape, there was a monster that attacked us, and the monster would attack us with things that started with different letters. He was like, "Now I'm going to destroy you with something that starts with the letter A." It was a dream, okay. So with that, yeah, there was that. That was also, I never, again, didn't really imagine any episodes with it, but there was one point I think before Lost Galaxy that I imagined. You know how when the Ranger at the end of season 2, leading into season 3, when the Thunderzords got destroyed. Well, I imagined something like that happening, sort of like with all the different Zords in space getting destroyed, which that did happen. Countdown to Destruction. I imagined that, and all of a sudden the Yellow Space Ranger getting teleported away to some secret base where she ends up getting teamed up with 4 other new Rangers, and with them, the 5 of them become Power Rangers Geo, and it'd be like a mini series of them taking on the enemies of Power Rangers in space to defeat them once and for all. So there was that. And of course, Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, uh, excuse me, Time Force. I actually could imagine Casey in Time Force because of how, as the Pink Ranger, because hear me out, because the Pink Ranger in Time Force is is pretty much is pretty much a really tough warrior. I mean, yeah, this is not your usual Pink Ranger. They show scenes of her, uh, training and stuff like that. Say it's pretty much like taking Laura Croft and Kim Possible mixed together as a Power Ranger. Mm. So there was that, and of course Wild Force, wow. Wild Force, Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, where Tommy of course came back, talk about his history as a Power Ranger. Then there came SPD. Now the funny thing is, as far as my interest in Power Rangers, I didn't lose my interest in Power Rangers, but thing is, when Lost Galaxy and after Lost Galaxy, when Lightspeed Rescue came out, by that point I had just started watching Pokemon and then eventually Digimon, and I got so into it that I didn't really watch the Power Rangers much. Again, not that I hated Power Rangers, my focus was just more with Pokemon and Digimon, and a few other shows that were surrounding it at that time there. That took my interest there, from Lightspeed into Time Force and into Wild Force as well. I did watch Ninja Storm. I remember coming to my granny's house in the morning time before school, seeing episodes of Ninja Storm, and I actually enjoyed that. I actually enjoyed that season. That's one thing I really like about Ninja Storm. Is their morphers when they say Ninja Storm, Ranger form, ha! It almost looks like they got Beyblades on their morphers there, which is pretty cool there. And the Ranger costumes really were impressive to me. Funny thing is, when I saw the costumes and Ninja Storm as a whole, I did not know that it was in universe with the other Power Ranger seasons, until of course they had the crossover with Dino Thunder. But I thought Ninja Storm was its own series, and what I mean by that, I actually thought that it was done by college students, and looking back, I was like, if that was done by college students, that is a really good student film. So, for them to put together their own Power Rangers season, that was really well done. And what made me think that was the way the suits were designed, which was a really interesting design. Yeah, because I had not seen that was kind of different from the previous seasons there, and yeah, like the little like the arm parts and all that. Yeah, it really looked cool, and I was thinking like, wow, it's a pretty good Power Ranger series from some college students there. But of course that wasn't the case. Yeah, but yeah, that's what I thought back then. But after Dino Thunder, I was like, okay, I'm done. I ain't, okay, that's the end of Power Rangers there. SPD. I was like, oh, come on, that's enough now. I literally was like, okay, that's enough of Power Rangers right now. So I didn't really watch SPD at first until I just so happened I was volunteering for the daycare at my high school, Woodlawn, during my senior year. I was one of the voluntary daycare helpers. And a lot of and like I meant, if I hadn't mentioned before, I mentioned it now. A lot of the kids in the daycare were really attached to me there. It was like, here come Gabe, here come Gabe, here come Gabe. And just how it happened. I guess I was like that cool uncle in the group. So, one of the kids that was probably attached to me the most, he always would call, for a few times he called me Shadow Ranger. I was like, Shadow Ranger? Yeah, Shadow Ranger, that's what you are. And I was like, okay. And so I'm thinking, first I'm thinking, okay, it's supposed to be a Power Ranger, but, okay, wait, where is this? I was like, wait, where's the Shadow Ranger? It's an SPD. So I got home, I had to, okay, let's see, SPD. Like, SPD, emergency. And I saw the Shadow Ranger. I was like, That's so. Apparently, they think I'm the commander of SPD with a dog head. But he is the but he was the an alien dog, but he was the commander, the commander of all the Raiders. So I was like, okay, that's pretty okay. That's kind of cool there. And then I got into SPD because of the little kids. Yeah, because of the little, because of that one little kid and a few others there. That's what got me into SPD. Imagining myself as the Shadow Ranger and five of the kids, well, actually six of them as the different SPD Rangers, including the Omega Ranger. Um, and we would, and a lot of times we would pretend, we would do I guess you could say, pretend to be the SPD Rangers there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, playing with them there. That's one of the reasons, like I say, I look forward to me and Christina having our own kid and everything. Cause yeah, it's a lot. I know it's some work involved. Don't get me wrong. I know, just like I mentioned in a previous video with married life. Got his ups and downs. So dealing with a kid, yeah, obviously it's gonna have ups and downs. Some little, and it's especially the first few years when they're a baby and everything. That's obvious there. They having to be where you can tend to them at any time. But of course, like I say, but there is a bright side to it. It makes it worthwhile. So that's the big picture to look at there. Like I say, sometimes you have to do some really hard work to get the things you want. So that's kind of one way to look at it there. But anyway, I remember one of the best memories I had with those with the kids in that daycare. Uh, the one that kept calling me the Shadow Ranger and was like really attached to me the most out of the other kids, almost like a mini me. Is a if you had seen if back then if you saw us like hanging out together, me and this kid there, because since I was still in high school, you probably would think that was my little brother there. Yeah, it's almost like hanging out with your little brother. But we chilling and everything. We was on a field trip, and on the field trip, he obviously sat next to me and everything. And on our way to where we were going, I think we was going to the Red River. He said, "Tell me a story." So I figured, he's in the power, hey, we're in the Power Rangers and everything. So I say, well, I tell you what, I'll tell you how the Shadow, because I had just recently saw this episode, watching SPD myself, because of him. I said, I'm going to tell you how the Shadow Ranger first came into play. Ooh. Yep, and I literally, the two-parter of SPD Shadow, how Kruger became the Shadow Ranger, I literally told him both of those episodes back to back. On the I think part of it on the way to where we were going, and then on the way back to the school. And boy, it was. I gotta say that was the best tell your kid a story time I've ever had. There, that's because yeah, it was. That was probably my best moment with them and everything. Yes, yeah, it was pretty cool too. Yeah, it's like matter of fact, I was even telling it in the way like how you read a storybook to the kids. There, like once upon a time there was a princess and all that. I was like, and then the monster cried. Then later the Rangers were in the base and Kruger came in really upset. Hey, are you laughing at me? Need I remind you this is the base of command and it's taken seriously. Out! And not a word from you. So yeah, that was a really good moment there. So yeah, definitely imagine myself in that. And of course, Mystic Force and Overdrive and Jungle Fury, all that came out. Samurai and RPM Samurai, yada 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 yada. So, um, so yeah, pretty much that's pretty much my history with the Power Rangers, the ones that, of course, were already made, and a little bit of what I did amongst those seasons. from Mighty. Looks like from the look of it, from Mighty Morphin mostly to space, and then a little briefing of the other seasons, and then SPD. Uh, so yeah, that was. And I remember I actually, which I don't have, but since you know how you record stuff on your VHS tapes there, they had an SPD marathon once, and I literally recorded all the episodes of SPD. They may have skipped one or two. I'm not completely sure. One or two of the episodes may have been skipped during the marathon, but yeah, if all the episodes that they aired, I recorded each one. So you're like, how did you get all those episodes recorded on the one tape? Well, actually, it wasn't. It was more than one tape. It was several tapes. Now there was a certain time I think that they would end the marathon because I think we did have cable at the time. During that time to get because it was on ABC Family. Um, or Toon Disney, however they call it, Jetix. So how I had to do it, it was a certain time that it would go off, and other programs would come on, and then it would start again. I literally when it would end, I actually, yeah, that's when I would get a little sleep, and I think I had like my alarm set to wake up when it would start, but I also had a timer on my tape. You can set your VCR to record stuff. Yeah, I had a little timer set. I've actually had that ever since. I actually knew how to do that ever since the seventh grade because I remember Arthur would come on while I was at school. It would come on about 7 o'clock, and obviously I'm in middle school, so I have to go. I have to be at school at 7:30. So, and I was like a little distance away from the middle school, so we had to leave around 7 o'clock. So I would have my VCR and stuff set to start recording. That way, that afternoon I'd come back and check out the episode that I missed. So that's what I would do in time with when it would come back on. There was I think one or two times I had to switch tapes in the middle of the marathon real quick. But yeah, that's pretty much how I had it. So yeah, that was the thing there. My history of Power Rangers, the already made series. So yeah, the next video we will go forward with, of course, Power Rangers Cyber Squad. That's gonna be the next history of Power Ranger video, fan made and ready to get digital. So until then, yeah, share, subscribe. Definitely, special thanks and get some of our available comic books as well as also Yumiko #1. You can get it in the library if you want to check it out before you buy it. And also support us on that Patreon like your boy AJ the Supreme. That was pretty good. Well, let me try it again. AJ the Supreme. Or hey, let's do it with a morphic like Zeo. It's morphin time. So maybe, it's morphin time. AJ the Supreme. See what I did there? And also check them out on YouTube. Check his YouTube channel out along with Casey's YouTube channel. Sell each other some stuff on Macari app and hang out in Discord. And we will see y'all in the next video. Take care, everybody.